Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is the show where we take your sources, unpack them, and pull out the really important insights.
Yeah, and today we're diving headfirst into something I think a lot of you listening can probably relate to.
Definitely. The journey of learning a new language is fascinating, sometimes really frustrating, let's be honest.
But ultimately, so rewarding,
Yeah.
right? We're going to unpack why it feels so challenging, maybe why so many people give up.
Yeah. And crucially, how to push through those tricky parts, those plateaus, and really thrive.
We've got some great material today, insights from an interview with Charles. He's a passionate language learner and podcaster himself.
And we're pairing that with some solid academic research on things like language anxiety, attrition, that's language loss, and, of course, effective learning strategies.
So our goal today is pretty straightforward.
Mm.
Give you a clearer picture, some actionable ideas.
Exactly. Help you navigate that whole linguistic landscape with a bit more confidence, maybe even more joy.
Okay, so where do we start? Usually it's that initial spark.
Yeah, the beginning. Everyone starts language learning with this, like burst of excitement. Everything feels new, achievable.
That honeymoon phase. You're
Yeah,
making quick progress, picking up basics. It feels good.
it really does. And, the sources suggest our brains are just wired for that novelty. Those early wins feel huge.
But maybe they set an unsustainable expectation. Because what comes next?
Oh, yeah, the plateau, that dreaded language learning plateau.
It's that point where suddenly it feels like your learning pace just tanks.
Right, you feel like you're working twice as hard, but the improvement is, well, it's hard to see.
Yeah, you start noticing all the things you don't know instead of celebrating how far you've come.
And the research says this is totally normal, especially for intermediate learners, sort of that B1, B2 level.
Exactly. You can have a conversation, get the main points, but fluency, complex stuff, still a struggle. And honestly, a lot of people get stuck there. It's a big reason for quitting.
It makes sense. And hearing Childs talk about his early struggles really hit home for me, those traditional courses.
The grammar-heavy ones.
Yeah. He's from Brazil, and he said they just weren't motivating. Not enough actual speaking.
He tried a year-long one, then another for 6 months.
And stopped both times. He realized, just grammar drills and exercises wasn't for him.
And the academic side backs this up. The sheer complexity of language, grammar, vocabulary, getting the pronunciation right, it's a huge barrier.
It's a heavy cognitive load, isn't it?
Definitely. Then you add adult life on top of it, work, family, finding the time.
And sometimes feeling like you don't have the right books or apps or whatever.
It all piles up. You can see why it feels so daunting.
So, okay, the initial buzz wears off, the practical stuff gets hard, but then there's the whole mental game.
Oh, absolutely. When the first wave of motivation dips, the emotional and psychological stuff really comes into play. That's often the deeper battle.
And the research points to some really common internal struggles. Fear of making mistakes seems massive.
Huge. It's not just embarrassment. Some studies suggest it can actually trigger a kind of threat response in the brain.
Wow, really? So it literally stops you.
It can paralyze your ability to retrieve words, even words you know. Stops you from forming sentences.
And Charles mentioned this directly. He described himself as shy, introverted, and said he avoided using English in real situations for ages because of that fear.
Yeah, it really shows how powerful that barrier is.
Yeah.
And it feeds into lack of confidence, self-doubt.
Which often comes from that same fear of errors, right? Worrying about looking bad.
Exactly. And perfectionism is tied in there too. Research shows a strong link between wanting to be perfect and fearing mistakes, which just ramps up the anxiety.
You get anxious about sounding incompetent, so you don't practice, which, well, it doesn't help you improve.
It becomes a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And then you see people online, these polyglots who seem fluent in everything.
Right, and you think, why am I so slow? It sets up totally unrealistic expectations.
Leads to judging yourself, frustration, especially with all the learn language in 3 months. Hype out there.
Yeah, that instant gratification culture clashes hard with language learning, which is inherently long-term.
It really does. Fluency doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
And it's tricky because progress isn't always visible, like, say, learning to knit a sweater. You see the sweater growing.
That's a great way to put it. You can study for months, maybe reach an A1 level basic beginner stuff, and it still feels like you can barely string a sentence together in a real chat.
That lack of tangible, immediate feedback makes it so easy to just stop.
Which brings us to another really interesting concept from the research, language attrition.
Right. Attrition. Basically, your skills fading over time because you're not using the language enough.
So this could happen after you finish a course or maybe come back from studying abroad.
Or even just if life gets busy and you stop your regular practice. It's a natural process if you don't actively fight it.
So how does this language loss actually show up? What goes first?
Well, the research suggests your productive skills, speaking and writing, tend to be more vulnerable than listening and reading.
Ah, so that feeling when you know the word, but it just won't come out when you're talking.
That could definitely be attrition hitting your active recall. Those speaking skills need constant practice.
Okay. And what about vocabulary versus grammar?
Vocabulary, your lexicon, seems to show the effects of attrition more readily than grammar or pronunciation. Though, interestingly, being literate, being able to read well in the language, seems to really slow down the loss.
That makes sense. Reading keeps exposing you to words and structures.
Exactly. And crucially, motivation comes up again. It's not just for learning. It's vital for preventing loss. It keeps those connections firing.
So the flip side of attrition must be retention.
Precisely. Retention is the conscious, active effort to keep those skills alive and even growing.
It's deliberate, needs consistency, motivation, especially since most people doing this are on their own, right? No teacher, no class schedule.
Exactly. It's self-driven maintenance.
Okay, so we've talked about the excitement, the plateau, the psychological hurdles, the risk of losing it. How do we actually break through? How do we keep going?
Let's look at some strategies. And Scholl's story is incredibly useful here. His breakthroughs are really insightful.
What was his turning point?
He said it was around 2018. He just decided he had to start actively using English, even though he was super shy.
How did he start?
He used Cambly. That's a platform for one-on-one chats with native speakers. He admitted the first time was terrifying.
How terrifying.
He literally sat there for 2 hours staring at the call button before he finally clicked it.
Wow, that speaks volumes about the fear, doesn't it? But he did it.
He did, and it started building his comfort, his confidence. Then he moved to peer practice.
Okay, talking to other learners.
Yeah, a program called Connect and Communicate. Again, terrified to actually message people at first, but he pushed himself.
It sounds like embracing that discomfort was key for him.
Absolutely. And he didn't stop there. He joined real-life meetup groups, face-to-face conversations.
That's a big step up.
Huge. He even became a volunteer leader for a group in another city. Imagine shy person, strange city, strange people, strange language.
That takes guts.
He even told us he accidentally started speaking Portuguese in his first meeting. Just nerves.
Huh. I think many of us can relate to that kind of slip up under pressure.
Totally. But those challenges, those awkward moments, they were exactly what boosted his skills.
So his number one tip, especially for intermediate learners, is
Use English actively.
yeah,
As much as possible. Get it out there.
which sounds a bit like that speak from day one idea. Just start talking.
It does align with that. Yeah, build confidence through doing. But, and this is important, you need to balance that output, speaking, writing, with input, listening, reading.
Right. You need fuel for the fire. You need to keep learning new words, better structures.
Exactly. It's about quality, not just quantity of speech.
Okay, so let's get practical. What are some concrete strategies for active use and just keeping things going?
One powerful technique mentioned is recording your own voice.
Ooh, I know people find that cringy, but it works.
It can be really effective, yeah.
Yeah.
You hear your pronunciation, your pauses, your grammar mistakes. You can self-correct, especially once you know enough passively to spot the errors.
Makes sense. What else?
Using social media actively. Don't just scroll post in English. Record short videos. Write captions. Follow creators who use the language.
Like Charles did. He built a whole community that way.
He did. Reach 10,000 followers on Instagram. Connects with people globally through his podcast.
So maybe even start your own project, like a blog or a podcast.
Yeah, if that appeals to you. Charles is proof it's a fantastic way to improve speaking.
Hmm.
And you don't have to do it alone.
Communities.
Yes. Find online groups, local clubs. They offer support, practice without judgment. Charles runs his own Telegram group and Zoom chats now.
And he focuses on fun conversations, right? Not grammar lessons.
Exactly. Because people need that real interaction.
Okay, what if you feel stuck, like you're just doing the same thing over and over?
Mix it up. Change your activities. Try creative flashcards. Start a language journal. Grab your favorite book, but read it in the target language this time.
Or even video games.
Yeah, online games that need communication could be great. And for refining things, breaking bad habits.
Like using the same simple words all the time.
That's where maybe some personalized one-on-one lessons can help.
Mm-hmm.
A tutor can offer specific feedback, introduce more natural phrasing.
In immersion, people always talk about moving abroad, but that's not realistic for everyone.
True. But you can create immersion at home. Change your phone language. Use the target language for Google searches, YouTube.
Swap out your usual podcasts, books, TV shows for ones in the language you're learning.
It creates that necessary discomfort, pushes you.
Yeah.
And tech offers so many tools now for retention, too.
Like watching shows with subtitles.
Yeah, or even tools like language learning with Netflix that show both languages. Listen to audiobooks while reading along. Podcasts with transcripts you can slow down or speed up.
That's really leveraging the media we already consume.
Definitely. And interactive apps. While maybe needing caution about efficacy or drop-off rates if they're not engaging enough,
Like Duolingo, Babbel, those kinds.
yeah, they can play a role.
Yeah.
Or again, gaming something like World of Warcraft involves tons of communication. There's even an app, Voice Maps, where you can create narrated tours.
Combining skills, listening, maybe even speaking if you record your own. And don't forget real-world stuff.
Absolutely. Community service, clubs, conversation groups, finding actual people to talk to is invaluable.
And what about teachers? What's their role beyond just the initial lessons?
It's crucial, actually. They can prepare learners for that independent retention phase, teach digital literacy how to use these tools effectively.
Foster that motivation we keep talking about.
Yes, and help learners create personalized plans. What are your goals? What activities will you do? Reading, listening, talking. What's your backup plan if life gets crazy?
And maybe normalizing the struggle, making it clear that feeling awkward and making mistakes is part of it.
Definitely. Emphasizing that perfectionism isn't the goal. Communication and progress are.
So when you pull it all together, it's clear language learning really is a marathon, isn't it? Not a sprint.
Absolutely. It's got those amazing highs, those really tough plateaus, moments where you doubt yourself.
But the fascinating thing is everyone goes through this, from the most casual learner to, those hyper polyglots. These challenges are universal.
And there's no single magic method. The real key seems to be experimenting, finding what genuinely clicks for you.
So the message is, don't give up, have a goal, try to be consistent.
And remember that the real growth often happens through the struggle, not by avoiding it.
Don't wait until you feel perfect or ready to start using the language actively. That journey, that connection, it starts now.
Yeah. So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. What kind of new version of yourself could you unlock if you embrace that discomfort and really commit to this journey?